On October 12th, 2010, Lisa Yanucci, aka Mama Lisa, wrote this article entitled Alouette, What It Means. It's not as nasty as you'd think. Alouette is not a mean song. Really? Most people think the French-Canadian song Alouette is very mean once they learn what it means in English. It sounds like it's about someone taunting a bird. Lark, nice lark, I'll pluck out your feathers, I'll pluck your eyes, I'll pluck your wings. It sounds really cruel. I asked Monique Palomares in France about it. She wrote back, Alouette, gentille Alouette is not a song about mean people who want to cruelly pluck a lark alive. Larks were and are considered as game, so people would first kill them, then pluck them, then cook them, and last eat them. We don't eat larks in the US, so most Americans at least think the song is mean. Now we see it's really not. It's as if we bought a chicken or a turkey from a farm and had to pluck the feathers out ourselves. While doing the chore, we might have sung a song like Alouette. At least, in the olden days, we may have. Monique wrote, this reference to larks being cooked and eaten can also be found in the circle game song Bonjour Guillaume. It's a circle game song that goes,
Bonjour Guillaume, as-tu bien déjeuné? Mais oui madame, j'ai mangé du pâté d'Alouette, Guillaume, Guillaumette, chacun s'embrassera et Guillaume restera.
Which translates literally as, Good morning, William. Did you have a good breakfast? Oh yes, madam, I had some pâté, lark pâté. William and Wilma, everyone hugs one another. William will stay. 74 responses to Alouette, what it means. It's probably not as nasty as you'd think. Kate says, March 16, 2012, which, I will remind you, is a year and a half after this article was posted. She says at 4:07 a.m., I think this is a horrible song. There's nothing benign about chanting that one is going to pluck a bird's eyes, his head, his wings, his bill, his neck. It's a cruel, violent song, and shocking that one would want to teach this to a child. Okay, one may kill a bird out of necessity to eat, but it's barbaric to gloat about plucking each bodily part. And it certainly doesn't promote the idea of kindness to animals. I would never have taught my child this song. I think it's shocking and inhumane. Victoria says, one day later, I think you have to consider the song in context, which means considering how it must have been when people killed, plucked, and prepared lark to eat. Unless one's diet consists of plants only, thinking about killing a bird, goat, cow, or any other animal that will then be butchered, cooked, and eaten doesn't paint a pretty picture. Lisa says, I agree with Victoria. In those days, it may have been a way to make the chore of cleaning the bird less unpleasant. They didn't buy their birds perfectly plucked and packaged at the supermarket. Rose McDonald says, lipstick on a pig time. It doesn't matter how you dress it up, it's still a grisly jingle. The attempt to rationalize it is just silly. Casey says, OMG, what an awful song, regardless of what it's for or what time it's from. Casey then says, there's a ton of nasty crap these folks had to do, like pooping in a thunder pot, but they didn't sing about it. There is nothing happy about taking the life of something and mutilating it. Julie says, I heard the song on the Target commercial and I searched it because I liked how it sounds. Now I know what it means, horrible song. Now I will hate the commercial. Even though we eat chicken, I don't think we should make a proud song on how we kill it and pluck every single part of the poor thing. I hate this song. Ben says, this is actually a great song to teach to children. It's important that they know where real food comes from. Plucking a lark or any other bird isn't mutilating it. That's a ludicrous statement. Preparing food is a great, ages-old tradition. Nothing could be more wholesome. Rasta says, it's a children's song, but to teach French by naming all the different parts of the body in French. Plucking birds and chickens in the old days was a child's work. Kristen says, I agree with Rasta and Ben. Everyone else needs to grow up. Tim says, I agree with Rasta. What is cruel about cleaning poultry? I am a cook and I am insulted by Kate. I clean so many different animals, whether I'm cutting off feet, heads, fat, or removing offal, it is all the same. How does cleaning game promote cruelty toward animals? I have been singing this song, I'm from Quebec, Canada, since my early youth, and to this day I have never or have ever heard of anyone else plucking out a lark's eyes. Who eats lark anyway? You vegetarians don't even know what meat omnivores consume. Take a history lesson and you will see we evolved into Cro-Magnon because of an increase in protein intake. Ted says, "This song makes me hungry for fowl. I have indeed gone bird hunting and dressed my own for cooking. Can't wait to teach my kids this song." Angelo says, on October 14th, 2013 at 12:59 a.m., "Looking at the era and circumstance that created this song makes its understanding simple. It's a fallacious approach to look at a work of time and literature with an ethical eye. It doesn't matter if you believe in animal rights or if you feel it describes cruelty. What really matters is what it truly postulates, how larks were prepared from scratch into a dish very much like the metaphor of the Song of Sixpence. Since technology and the Industrial Revolution has pampered most people up to this generation, only few know what it's like to take even a turkey, kill it, pluck its feathers, separate its edibles, and cook a dish the old-fashioned way. Only those who see from this point or who at least have been through this can appreciate or understand this literary work of time." Toby says, "I suspect the origins of this song began during the French Revolution as the nobilities were being guillotined, executed. Alouette rhymes with Marie Antoinette. This song could easily be about plucking human heads off. The initial part of the song was probably sung as a taunt by the public who were reducing the condemned from humans to objects/animals in their minds to ease the execution process. I doubt that the song was sung in a feminine or childlike way. More likely it was sung in a masculine way." Our good friend and expert Monique says, August 15th, 2014, 4 years after the article was posted, "The two most popular songs from the Revolution, Ah Ça ira and La Carmagnole,
La Carmagnole,
that were widely popular are still known nowadays. If Alouette, Gentil Alouette, had been among them, it wouldn't have been forgotten as being a revolutionary song. French people think of it as being Canadian. The song as we know it now was first published in a pocketbook for the use of students and graduates of McGill College. However, there is an old song by Frenchman Nicolas Milhaud that was published in 1578, 211 years before the French Revolution, and no doubt Alouette, Gentil Alouette originates in that song. Even if Alouette rhymes with Marie Antoinette, the people of Paris didn't call her Marie Antoinette, they called her l'Autrichienne because she was Austrian and much hated, or Madame Déficit because she was considered a spendthrift while the state had no money, or Madame Veto because the king could veto any decision voted by the Legislative Assembly. Emily says, "This song is actually sung by French-Canadian trappers to keep rhythm with each other while they were rowing their canoes on the water." Sam says, "Why would you want to eat a puny little bird like a lark? Don't they have KFC in French land?" Kathy Nelson says, November 6, 2015, "My mother used to sing this to me. I sang it to my kids, who all grew up to be fine people in spite of it. Did you see the movie Gigi? In it, she learns to eat ortolans, a type of bunting. Other cultures eat pigeons, especially squab, the young of pigeons. My dad raised them for a while. They were delicious, and I'm sure there are many more birds which are eaten around the world. So to all of you who can't bear to look at where our food comes from and who find this song offensive, maybe you should just become vegetarians. Don't sing the song if it upsets you. See? It's so simple." Itana says, "My gosh, after I read this song, I was laughing so hard. Really? I'll pluck your neck? Hilarious! It's cruel and all, yeah, but I had a good laugh and I could not stop. LOL. Edward says, February 13th, 2016, This is a song made up to teach children to speak and learn body parts. Like any other children's song, its intentions are to teach and entertain children. This is just a process after you hunt your prey. Chickens, pork, beef, and seafood are not bayed. They are born, raised, and slaughtered for everyone's consumption. We have been so removed from the process of this that any reference to it has become evil. P.S. For all you vegetarians, it has been proved that plants can feel when we cut them down, so you are no better than anyone else. We just can't hear the broccoli screaming. Everyone grow up and stop whining about everyone else and make sure you are acting appropriate before we condemn someone else. Québécois de souche
Québécoise de souche
says, big deal. Why are people offended by this song? I guess seeing London Bridge falling down is also terrible. Promotes terrorism or whatever. Seriously, people, it's a song. I've been singing it since I was a child, and it did not turn me into some maniac lark-killing machine. Get a grip and go after those nutcases who actually harm animals for pleasure, not some children's song. Andrew says, London Bridges is about the plague and has nothing to do with terrorism. Tom Drachen says, this may have become a children's song, but it did not start out that way. Although the great folklorist Marius Barbeau suspected the song may have had origins in France, there is absolutely no record of its existence before it was published in a McGill College Songbook in 1879. It became very popular in Canada soon after, even being sung at baseball games. It was picked up by doughboys in World War I and disseminated wildly, being sung as a light-hearted song to ease the misery of war. I sing this song with my group Les Filles du Voyageur, which specializes in folk music of French Canada, and I have done extensive research on our repertoire. For those of you who think it is grisly and disgusting, you are so far removed from the reality of daily existence in the 19th century and before. Larks and most other birds were food, and one doesn't eat birds without removing the feathers. They are, of course, killed first, not plucked alive. Go visit an organic farm and help them process chickens sometime. This is reality. Eddie Kent says, June 30th, 2016, when you eat ortolans, which is actually forbidden even in France, you cover your face with your napkin to hide from God. Furthermore, you don't pluck them, they're far too small. Monique says, you do pluck them, what you don't do is gut them. Lori Young says, this song has been in my mother's family for generations. It was created to teach the steps of killing, plucking, and preparing game birds for mealtime. The song is sung in the exact steps one goes through to prepare dinner. I know I have always learned everything by song much faster and easier than by rote. It was because of horrible songs like these that you are all here to complain about them in the first place. Get off your high and mighty horse, use the brain you were born with, and consider history. There was no cookbook handy. Most people neither read nor wrote. No internet to search on. The nearest neighbor was probably 5 or more miles away, and a lone cook has to have some method to remember how to cook and clean game in the proper order. The song provides the steps. Think about the way to remember algebra. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. What are we excusing her for? What did she do wrong? No one has now, nor ever has had any modicum of an iota, and no one cares. This is how the song should be considered. Who cares? No one. It was just a way to remember something important. Carl says, London Bridges falling down is not about the plague. You're thinking of Ringer on the Rosie. Vanessa says, March 29th, 2017, definitely going to be finding another song to teach the students body parts. While it has a catchy jingle, the meaning in singing as we pluck a bird's head, eyes, and feathers is cruel. M.O. says, y'all trippin', this song bangs. Brian says, I think it's a lame song that has served its purpose and should be put to sleep. but it will continue to be endearing to all those who wish it to live on. And that's your choice, so do your own thing and stop worrying about what other people think. Why is there so much arguing on here? I mean, I like some controversial songs too, and I don't go around making people have to listen to my choice of music. Pow! Sam says, I am a vegetarian, but I have no problem with people killing animals to provide food on the table. When I was a child growing up in the mid-60s, I vividly remember my grandmother, my mom, and my aunts killing live chickens, then plucking the feathers, cleaning them, and preparing them for cooking. This still goes on in most of the world, as not everybody buys their poultry or meat already prepared. My family sang songs while doing this. While at first the translation seemed gruesome, considering the context, it makes perfect sense. No problem with this vegetarian here. I still help my family grill their hamburger meat during picnics. Sarah says, keep in mind that there's a lullaby that says down will come baby, cradle and all, to describe a baby falling out of a tree. Also, I was taught I'm being swallowed by a boa constrictor to learn body parts from the toes up. B says, January 28th, 2018, oh my goodness. I learned this song in first grade music class in 1959. I was born and raised on a farm, so I know all about plucking feathers if you wanted to eat, but it's just a damn song. The people complaining about it are ridiculous. I can't believe that anyone would misconstrue this song. Those people have been way too sheltered, and if they have such strong feelings for this song, then they're going to have a problem with life experiences. Not everything comes wrapped in a nice, neat package. Thank goodness if my kids were left to their own devices out in the wild, they would have life skills that would sustain them. I have to laugh at how foolish most of these posts are. I like the one about Rockabye Baby. Yep, that cradle is going to crash the floor and probably kill that baby, yet no one is saying anything about that. Why? Because it's taking everything too damn literal. That's what's wrong in the world today. You can't joke around anymore about anything because people have been so brainwashed that they don't know how to laugh, joke around, or have fun. So lighten up, Buttercup. Life is like a breeze. And then Pierre says literally the exact same thing that B just did. Mama Lisa says, many lullabies around the world are extremely scary. It seems the idea is to scare the child to sleep. If you don't go to sleep, this will happen. Richard says, May 18th, 2018. Oh, for God's sakes! Millennial snowflakes, get over yourselves. Meat does not come from square plastic trays at the supermarket, and I realize to most youngsters, it seems to. Nope. Rachel Rivero de Posi says, Saludos, amigos. Well, I have zero need to justify this song. Like Richard said, please, folks. If this freaks you out, then you must be living in a cave, but then you couldn't be living in a cave, could you? If you were, you must needs find something to eat in the wilderness, which would include skinning it or plucking it, pulling its eyeballs out, and while you're at it, its brains, its guts, its anus, its nails. Do you see the picture? Back in the day, they didn't have the grocery stores. Back in the day, they had to do this at home. It probably usually fell to a younger but strong enough kid. Give them a break for making a song that the kids could sing to help to do their chore. And by the way, the kids were not freaked out. This was part of normal everyday life. I know I'm 6 years late on this from the first comments, but it's annoying to see how small people are. Read some literature that has nothing to do with 2018 or 2012. You'll definitely learn a lot. Life is radically different these days. We live in an antiseptic life. It's semi-false. It's quite plastic. There are good things for sure, but seriously, read something old. You'll learn about a lot more than just the storyline. Last thing, there are parts of the world right this minute where people have to do this daily, if not weekly or bi-weekly, so they can get some protein. They can't drive down to the local market to get their pre-packaged, pre-skinned, well, I've already said it. Ha, son. In good cheer, Palm Tree Rachel. Felix Gimbel says, Rachel of October 6, 2018 made perfect sense. Others made sense as well, and still others find the need to clutter the internet with the stench of their virtue signaling. I'm glad to have stumbled across Mama Lisa's explanation of this song I first heard over 60 years ago, but never knew the English meaning of. Thank you, Lisa. Cheryl says, January 2nd, 2019 at 4:20 a.m.
There's a 4:20 a.m. too?
I always thought it was a way to teach children the parts of the bird. Didn't realize they were talking about plucking a bird. By the way, not all of our nursery rhymes are innocent. Ring Around the Rosie was a poem referred to the plague with the line, "All fall down," meant dying of it. Dale C. Davies says, January 23rd, 2019 at 4:24 a.m. I was in the 425th Squadron Alouettes in the Canadian Air Force. On my blazer badge, it has written the following: Escadron J. Plumeray.
Escadron, je te plumerai.
I would very much like to sign up for all your emails in both French and English if possible. P.S. My mother's father was French, so I'm just a quarter of it now. Mama Lisa, what type of French lark was the actual bird in France that they would use for game? And don't forget to ask me what my middle name really is. Never too young to learn more French, but French. Merci, Mama Lisa. Any questions, feel free to ask me. Jay says, the song is sweet, the lyrics, not so much. One way to make it lighthearted would be to change the lyrics, something like, little firefly, gentle little firefly, how sweetly you glow. Then make up more lyrics about animals, plants, fish, fowl, insects, etc. Celebrate and describe them to the tune of an old chestnut with out-of-date lyrics. Why not? It's not like anyone's livelihood is at stake other than the larks. Monique, bless her, says, at Dale, our lark is Eurasian skylark, Alauda arvensis. Alouette des champs
Alouette des champs
is literally lark of the fields. Dale C. Davies says, February 14th, Valentine's Day. Hi, Mama Lisa, this is Dale. My grandfather on my mother's side was enlisted into the French army at the age of 15, this being the First World War. He went into the trenches and went through it all, shelling, mustard gas, chlorine gas, snipers, the works. 5 years later, walks out of the trenches after everything is said and done. Not a scratch, chest full of medals and all there mentally and physically. Then meets my mother's mother and falls helplessly in love, having 7 children. Unfortunately, in the Second World War, while my mother's mother was coming home one evening, she was killed unexpectedly by a V-2 rocket. That led to my mother's father to start drinking, and within a month time, he developed a stomach ulcer, as he could not live with such broken heart. That the ulcer broke and he bleed all his life's blood and die, and there leaving my mother orphaned at the age of 12. Truly, the French are romantics at heart. All I know is my mother's last name in French was Chevalier Gambette Knight, if that's correct. Well, there you go. Sincerely, Dale C. Davies. P.S. You have my email. Would very much like on how you can help me learn Parisian French. Please do drop me a line on how. Thanks, Mama Lisa. Never too old to learn. Anonymous says, I do not like the idea of being cruel to animals. I adore all animals, and I really have a way with them. I do not like the lyrics to this song, and I would change them all. I really love the French language and have been looking up some French songs. I was really wondering what the lyrics meant because if you watch the episode on season 3 on the hit TV series Liv and Maddie, Liv is trying to learn French for an interview with Voltage, her TV show that she shoots up until season 4. She tries everything, including labeling everything in her home with post-it notes with the French translation to what the item is. In the end, the only thing that helps her to speak French is this song. I was looking up the lyrics and now I wish I had not. I really wish the lyrics are different. Arlene says, April 24th, 2019 at 3:58 a.m. My married last name is Alouette. I grew up in Canada singing this song. We taught our kids this song, they loved it, and we're delighted to learn body parts in French. My mother was raised on a farm, and though she herself was German, remembers singing this song while she completed the, what we softies now think of as gruesome, task of plucking the chickens for dinner. Like others have said, there was no grocery store to purchase clean, skinless chicken breast wrapped in plastic and served on a tray. Chickens are not born that way. Even still, when I had my own young children, I was a bit sensitive about belting out a tune about plucking a lark. So my generous, kind, but eye-rolling father-in-law, also raised on a farm, offers this substitution. Skip plumeray and substitute caresser, as in je te caresse la tête. It means cuddle, hug. Aw, that's sweet, right? But just so you know, my now 16-year-old son, Frère Jacques, thinks the substitution was ridiculous, and that even he knew early on it was a farm song. He too is a fine person, never been cruel to animals, loves his crazy mama, and says he'll teach it to his kids one day too. I asked which version. He said the original, but that he'll also share the hilarious story of how his grandparents offered their grandmère a softy version. Family comedy. Now let's all laugh out loud with our best French accents. Roxanne Vanderford says, "And Rockabye Baby is okay? That screams child neglect and cruelty. We are all a little messed up by nursery rhymes and children's songs. Time to grow up and move on. Just saying." Rainey says, "Thank you for posting the history behind this song. I grew up singing this due to my French-Canadian grandmother's insistence and her childhood memories in Quebec." Kia says, October 29, 2019 at 12:45 a.m. "Alright, babies, it's just a freaking song. It's really catchy and has some suggestive content. While I also feel like it's old, so I have to respect it, it's so funny. I mean, when I first looked up the meaning behind Alouette, Google said that many believe that a kid was woken up by a lark, so the kid threatens to pluck off his neck, feathers, back, beak, etc. I was dying laughing. Am I the only one who feels this way?" Ari says, "I am offended by Kia. This is a cruel song and no one should be laughing at it. And anyways, how do you respect something and laugh in its face at the same time?" Peter says, October 30th, 2019 at 4:55 p.m. "No, Kia, you're not the only one who feels that way. I think it's a really pretty song, but it is also hilarious." Kevin says, "This article is making me hungry now that I know the translations." Brittany says, December 12th, 2019 at 10:52 a.m. "Here's an idea. Don't eat animals. Maybe, just maybe, the song makes you feel bad because you actually feel bad about eating animals. And the song doesn't help you ignore that thought. Maybe." Kia says, "Just a song. Like I said, it's just a song. Whoever Ari is, don't get offended over me laughing. It's not even like the song ever really happened anyway." 14 says, April 30th, 2020 at 2:39 a.m. "Hey yo, my dudes. I just want to say, Mama Lisa, this song translation was very helpful, so thank you, Mama Lisa. Also, I like cheese. By the way, not that anyone cares, but I'm gonna go ahead and share story time. I got interested in the origins of nursery rhymes and all that since I heard Mary Mary quite contrary because I love me some history. Also, it's pretty interesting, not gonna lie. Well, it's 2020 and we all got a dead from the coronavirus, so I guess it doesn't really matter anyways. Well then." M says, August 10th, 2020 at 9:48 a.m. "Some of you guys are freaking babies. I'm pretty sure most of you are adults, so act like one. Yes, it may sound like a cruel song, but face it, that's where most of the meat you eat comes from. If you're vegetarian, I understand why you'd be upset. But for those of you who are upset and eat meat, please stop hating on this song because that's where your food comes from. So suck it up and welcome to reality. Love you guys." Harrier says, September 12th, "They used to sing it to pass the time when they harvested a bird." Marie says, October 22nd, "I disagree with lists fair enough to people who eat meat, but when it all comes down to that, yous can't kill them quick enough. I think it's disgusting." Marie says, October 23rd, "I agree with M. Meat eaters are just cannibals." Marie says, October 24th, "There's people beating you around the bush for questions about it and taking the mick about it through technology. That's why I use very little of it and avoid cables." Norma says, January 9th, 2021, "Woke up this morning with the words of the first line in my head. I am 75 now. Luckily remembered how to spell it in French and found all these comments. I truly had no idea what I was singing way back in time. Have never plucked a bird in my life. In my later years, I have now eaten plenty small pigeons because I have a hunter cousin. I really cannot believe all these comments and what I always thought was a simple song. Ah, life." PK says, January 10th, "It's a catchy song, but hard to dance to. Kudos to Mama Lisa for creating a post that has garnered a thread of comments spanning nearly a decade."